The War Council chamber aboard the Dreadnought Indomitable was silent, not out of respect nor fear, but something far worse, anticipation. A dozen species sat in the curved, high-backed chairs, their eyes locked onto the human standing at the center. "This is madness," hissed the Zalari ambassador, his iridescent mandibles clicking. "You cannot deploy them. It is against every rule of war." Captain Elias Drake folded his arms, his expression unreadable. "You misunderstand, Ambassador. We don't deploy humans. We unleash them." A ripple of unease passed through the chamber. Even the war-hardened Ralshar, whose kind had feasted on the bones of fallen enemies for millennia, averted their gaze. They had seen what human soldiers could do. "You think we want this?" Drake continued, his voice like distant thunder. "You think we enjoy what we become in battle? We are not like the Kelsari shock troops, bred for war. We are not like the Silthar mind flayers, who break an enemy's will before the first shot is fired. No, we are something far worse: silence. The kind that weighed heavier than gravity itself. We adapt, we endure, and when pushed to the brink, we evolve into nightmares even we cannot comprehend." The Zalari ambassador recoiled. "You speak in riddles, human. What proof do you have?" Drake sighed. He tapped the interface on the table, and a grainy war recording flickered to life. The Battle of Torvon Prime. The feed showed a unit of human soldiers, their armor scarred, their faces streaked with sweat and blood. A horde of Vorgath berserkers stormed towards them, bioblades gleaming, their exoskeletal forms nearly impervious to kinetic weapons. The humans should have fallen. They should have broken, but they didn't. Instead, they smiled. The footage captured every terrifying second. The humans tearing into their foes with makeshift weapons, utilizing torn pieces of armor and enemy limbs as clubs. They fought with an ingenuity that defied logic, using their own bodies as shields, their tactics shifting mid-battle with an unpredictability that no artificial intelligence could replicate. They turned desperation into an art form. By the time the dust settled, only humans remained. The battlefield, once a sea of enemies, was now a graveyard of shattered husks. Drake turned off the display. "We are not the strongest. We are not the fastest. But we are the most dangerous species in the galaxy because we do not fear death. We embrace it as a means to an end. You ask us for proof, Ambassador. The proof is in every war humanity has ever fought. We don't just survive, we conquer." A heavy pause. The Zalari, now pale, lowered his gaze. The Ralshar warlord exhaled slowly, a flicker of what could only be admiration in his reptilian eyes. "Then let the galaxy tremble." Drake gave a grim smile. "Oh, it already does." The chamber doors hissed open, and an officer strode in, his face tight with urgency. "Captain, long-range sensors just detected a Xathid war fleet entering the system. They're moving fast." Drake turned, and his expression unchanging. "How many ships?" "Too many to count, sir. Their vanguard alone numbers in the hundreds." The Zalari ambassador's voice trembled. They wouldn't dare strike here. The Galactic Accord forbids it." Drake's chuckle was void of humor. "The Xathid don't follow rules, Ambassador. That's what makes them dangerous. But you, see," he gestured to the officers in the room, "we don't either." The chamber erupted into motion. Holographic displays flared to life. strategic overlays unfolding as battle plans were drawn in real time. The air was thick with tension and resolve. "Sound battle stations," Drake ordered, his voice cutting through the controlled chaos. "Deploy the fleet and scramble the ground forces. We hold this line." The Ralshar warlord grinned, revealing serrated teeth. "We will see if humanity's reputation is deserved." Drake strapped on his sidearm, his gaze locked onto the approaching fleet in the void beyond. "Oh, it is. And by the time this is over, the Xathid will know why." Outside, the endless black of space flickered with the first bursts of energy fire. The war had begun. The Indomitable shook as plasma rounds slammed against its shields. The bridge was a storm of movement, officers calling out status reports, weapons crews preparing retaliatory strikes. Drake stood firm, his eyes scanning the holographic display of the battlefield. "Focus fire on their lead warships," he commanded. "Break their formation before they establish a foothold." From the viewport, bright streaks of railgun fire and torpedoes tore through the void. Explosions bloomed in the darkness as Xathid ships burst apart under the relentless human assault. A lieutenant turned from her station. "Sir, the Xathid are deploying boarding craft. They're targeting our lower decks." Drake smirked. "Let them come." Deep within the Indomitable, klaxons wailed as impact tremors signaled the enemy's arrival. Xathid warriors, towering and armored, flooded into the corridors with plasma rifles humming. They expected a slaughter. What they got was something else entirely. The first wave of humans did not fire from cover. They did not retreat. They charged. A Marine lunged forward, driving a combat knife through the throat of the nearest Xathid. Another ripped a rifle from his enemy's hands and used it as a club, smashing through armor plating. They moved with terrifying efficiency, driven not by instinct or programming, but something deeper, something primal, fearless, unrelenting, adaptable. The Xathid commander watched in horror as his elite forces faltered. Impossible. They should be falling back. But humans did not fall back. They pushed forward,